yourself, yet success still feels out of reach. And because of that, doubt begins to creep in. You start questioning yourself, your abilities, and worst of all, you begin to question whether God has a plan for you at all. But here's the truth that most people fail to realize. God is fully aware of what he's doing. The reason you don't have what you want right now is simple. You're not ready for it yet. That's a tough pill to swallow because your ego wants to believe you're already prepared for success, that you should have it today. But that's what separates those who win from those who fall short. The ones who achieve greatness understand that the struggle isn't a punishment, it's preparation.
Let me tell you something that most people will never understand. God knows exactly what he's doing. You don't have what you want right now because you're not ready for it. The struggle isn't a punishment, it's preparation. You ever see someone win the lottery and go broke in a year? You ever watch these young guys make quick money in crypto, flex for a few months, and then disappear? You know why that happens? Because they got success before they were ready. And God is never going to put you in a position where your blessings become your curse. That's why you haven't hit your big break yet, because if he gave it to you now, you'd fumble it. If you suddenly had millions in your account today, would you even know what to do with it? You'd think you would, but you wouldn't. You'd make the wrong moves, blow money on nonsense, and within a year, you'd be worse off than before.
Success that comes too easily slips away just as fast. And that's why God won't hand you something you're not equipped to handle, because he doesn't want your blessings to turn into burdens. That's why you're still facing difficulties. That's why your breakthrough hasn't come yet. If it were given to you now, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. Be honest. If millions suddenly landed in your bank account today, would you truly know how to manage it? You might think you would, but in reality, you'd make the wrong choices, trust the wrong people, waste money on things that don't matter, and in the end, you'd end up worse than before. This is why God makes you wait. This is why he puts you through hardships. You need to be strong enough to handle the future he has planned for you. Warriors don't step onto the battlefield without training. Soldiers endure brutal preparation before they're sent into combat. Without discipline, they would crumble under pressure. And right now, you're in training. Every challenge, every setback, every time you feel like you're stuck, it's all part of the process that's shaping you into the person you need to become.
I also believe that God can be proud of you when you do your absolute best. And I don't think many people genuinely do their best in the world anymore. When I say do your best, people sit and go, oh yeah, okay. No, when is the last time you actually did your best? Like, I don't train to run marathons, but I know if I gave my best, I could run a marathon right now, first try. If I gave my best, life depending on it. When's the last time people have genuinely given their best to anything? There are people going through the world and going through life today that don't give their best or 100% effort to anything ever. Ever. They can't even remember the last time they tried. So when I'm sitting in a dungeon, or I'm sitting in a Romanian jail cell, I understand it is a chance that God has given me and my ancestors are watching for me to do my absolute best and to show to them that I am the man I say I am. You can't become the most famous man in the world for mental resilience and God not test your mental resilience. I think that would be a very amateur way to view the world, that you can now become one of the most famous men in the world who talks about mental discipline and mental resilience, and God's not going to test it. I think God's going to come along and say, okay, you want to be Mr. Famous. All right, let's see what you have. So I believed it was a chance to show God and show my ancestors and show my father that I am the man I say I am.
Most people don't want to endure that process. They want instant results. They look for shortcuts, hoping success will just fall into their lap without putting in the years of dedication, the sacrifice, and the discipline it takes to truly earn it. But that's not how God operates. He doesn't reward those who lack patience. He doesn't hand out success to people who won't appreciate or protect it. He blesses those who put in the work, those who trust the journey, and those who prove they can handle the responsibility that comes with success. Ask yourself, do you truly believe you're ready for the life you're asking for? Have you genuinely done the work to deserve it, or are you simply chasing the idea of success without building the foundation to support it? Because here's the reality. The waiting isn't a punishment. The delay isn't a denial. It's a setup for something greater. God isn't holding you back. He's strengthening you. He's testing your patience, your discipline, and your ability to persevere. He wants to see if you'll give up when things get difficult, or if you'll keep pushing forward, even when nothing seems to be going your way. And this is the point where most people fail. The moment obstacles arise, they convince themselves that their dreams are impossible. They assume success wasn't meant for them, so they stop trying. They give up just before their breakthrough. That's the greatest trick of all, allowing fear and doubt to convince you to quit right before everything was about to fall into place. Most people fall for it. They listen to that voice in their head telling them to settle, to accept mediocrity, to walk away from the very thing they were meant to achieve. But not you, not this time. This time you're going to stay focused. You're going to trust the process. You're going to push forward, knowing that every hardship, every failure, every painful moment is preparing you for something bigger. Because if you can't handle the struggle, you don't deserve the success. If you aren't willing to embrace the journey, you'll never reach the destination. And when you finally get there, when everything aligns and you achieve what you've been working for, you'll look back and understand why it had to happen this way. You'll realize that the setbacks, the frustration, the long nights of doubt, they were all necessary. They were molding you into the person you needed to become. God knew exactly what he was doing all along. The only question is, do you have the strength to trust him? Because the moment you fully commit, when you stop questioning and start embracing the process, your entire life will change. Have you ever considered that everything you're going through right now is exactly what you need? That the obstacles, the delays, the challenges, they're all part of God's plan to make you unstoppable. But instead of trusting him, instead of embracing the challenge, you sit there filled with doubt, questioning why things are so difficult. Let me tell you something. When you start questioning the process, you start losing. You allow fear to take over. You convince yourself that success isn't meant for you, that maybe you should settle for something less. But that's the biggest lie of all. God isn't punishing you, he's preparing you. He's building your patience, your endurance, and your strength. Because weak men don't win. Weak men collapse under pressure. Weak men try to take shortcuts and end up losing everything. You see it all the time. Someone gets lucky, makes some fast money, and within a year they're broke again. They thought they were ready. They thought they had it figured out. But life humbled them because they never truly earned it. That's why the process exists. That's why God is making you wait, because when your moment comes, he doesn't just want you to reach success, he wants you to keep it. But if you give up now, if you decide that the journey is too hard, you'll never experience what was meant for you. Most people don't have the patience to endure. They want the rewards without the sacrifice. They want the victory without the battle. But the truth is, there's no easy path to greatness. If you force success before you're ready, it will destroy you. And that's why you're still being tested. Not because you're being denied, but because you're being prepared. Success is not about luck, shortcuts, or overnight breakthroughs. It's about endurance, preparation, and faith. If you are in the waiting season of your life, feeling like your hard work is leading nowhere, understand this. Waiting is not wasted time, it's preparation. Every struggle, every setback, every delay is shaping you into a person who can handle the success that's coming. Because the truth is, success isn't just about getting what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who won't crumble under its weight. You may be frustrated right now, questioning why things haven't fallen into place, why doors seem locked, why your prayers feel unanswered. But let me tell you this, God is not ignoring you. He is refining you. He is strengthening your patience, discipline, and resilience, because what he has planned for you is far greater than what you could imagine. And if he handed it to you too soon, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. Think about it. So many people crave success, yet the moment they get a taste of it, they collapse under the pressure. Why? Because they never built the character to sustain it. They never learned how to manage their emotions, discipline their habits, or stay grounded when everything around them was changing. That's why you're being put through this process. Not to break you, but to build you. Trust the process and walk into the future that has already been prepared for you. Because success is not a matter of if, but when. The only thing that can stop you is your own impatience, your own unwillingness to endure the process. And here's the truth. Your struggle is not a punishment. It's a blessing in disguise. Every setback is teaching you something. Every delay is protecting you from something you're not ready for yet. Every hardship is strengthening you for the battles that come with success. Because make no mistake, success isn't easy. It comes with responsibility, pressure, and challenges that will test you at every level. If you can't handle waiting, how will you handle winning? If you can't stay faithful in the struggle, how will you stay grounded in the success? The people who win in life don't run from the process. They embrace it. They understand that the fire is refining them, that the struggle is shaping them, that the waiting is strengthening them. So if you can hold on, if you can trust that your delay is not a denial, that your waiting is not in vain, then one day, not today, not tomorrow, but one day, you'll look back at everything you've been through and say, now I understand. But let's take this even further. Success isn't just about you, it's about the impact you make on others. If you are given blessings, wealth, or influence, will you use it for good? Will you lift others up? Will you become the kind of leader who empowers others rather than just serving yourself? That is why this waiting period is so crucial. It is not just about achieving success, it is about preparing your heart for what success truly means. If you walk away now, if you quit because the road is taking longer than expected, then you were never meant for it in the first place. The struggle is a gift. The wait is a blessing. Every challenge is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. God knows what he's doing. The only question is, will you trust him? Right now, you are being shaped into a man who can handle success when it arrives. If you refuse to break, if you refuse to let challenges push you away, then you are becoming something unstoppable, and that is exactly what God wants you to be. The question is, what are you going to do? Will you be just another person who quits, makes excuses, and lets emotions dictate their actions? Or will you rise above doubt to trust the process and step into the future that God has already prepared for you? The choice is yours. This is the point where the weak fall and the strong rise. This is where God tests what you are truly made of. And if you quit now, if you break down and give up just because it's taking longer than you expected, you don't deserve it in the first place. God is watching to see if you're truly ready. Are you still going to put in the work when no one is watching? Are you still going to stay disciplined when nothing seems to be moving? Are you still going to believe in yourself when everything in your life tells you to quit? That's what separates the strong from the weak. You don't want to be the guy who gets to the end of his life, looks back, and realizes he gave up too soon. That's the worst regret of all. Knowing that you had the chance, that the door was right there, but you were too weak to walk through it. You ever wonder why God doesn't just hand you success the moment you ask for it? Why he makes you fight for it? Because God doesn't want you weak. He doesn't want you soft. He doesn't want you to get to the top only to crumble the moment pressure hits. But most of you don't want to hear that. You don't want to be told that you're the problem. You'd rather blame bad luck, your circumstances, or some nonsense excuse to make yourself feel better. Reality is this: if you are not winning, it's because you are not ready to win. And instead of complaining about that, you should be grateful. Because when God makes you wait, it's because he's making you strong enough to never lose again. The only thing standing between you and success is you. Your doubt, your impatience, your inability to recognize that the delay is not a punishment but a blessing. Every second you spend wondering why isn't this happening yet is a second you could be using to become the man who is ready for it. Consider this: if success were handed to you right now, would you truly be able to handle it? Could you bear the weight of the responsibility, the discipline, and the constant pressure that comes with it? Most people think they are ready, but they are not. They lack control over their emotions, their habits, and their discipline. That is why God makes you wait. That is why he tests you. He puts you through the fire so that when success comes, you will not crumble under it. And when that moment comes, when success finally arrives, you'll be ready because you endured, because you refused to quit, because you allowed the process to shape you instead of breaking you. And that is why you will not just succeed, but you will sustain it. You will rise not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. The choice is yours. Will you keep doubting, keep resisting, keep letting frustration hold you back? Or will you wake up tomorrow and say, I trust the process and I'm going to keep going no matter what? Because the moment you make that decision, when you fully surrender to the journey instead of fighting it, that is the moment everything begins to change. That is the moment the struggle stops being your enemy and starts becoming your greatest advantage. So don't give up. Don't run from the process. If you can trust it, if you can endure it, if you can stay faithful even when it's hard, then success is inevitable. Not because you got lucky. Not because things suddenly became easy. But because you became the person who was strong enough to handle it. And when that day comes, you won't just celebrate the victory, you'll celebrate the journey, because you'll know deep down that every moment of struggle was worth it, and that's the kind of success that lasts. But let's talk about what happens after success arrives. Because believe it or not, the journey doesn't end when you achieve your goal. In fact, that's just the beginning. See, too many people think success is the finish line. They think once they get there, they can relax, take their foot off the gas, and enjoy the rewards. And yes, success brings blessings, opportunities, and a sense of fulfillment. But it also brings challenges, expectations, and an entirely new level of responsibility. And let me tell you, when you finally get there, you'll understand why the wait was necessary. You'll look back at all the frustration, and you'll realize God knew what he was doing all along. You ever stop and think, what if everything you're going through right now is exactly what you need? It's all part of God's plan to make you unstoppable. Let me tell you something. The moment you start questioning the process, you start losing. You start thinking that maybe success isn't meant for you, that maybe you're wasting your time, but that's the biggest lie of all. Because let me tell you, weak men don't win. Weak men crumble the moment life gets hard. Weak men take shortcuts, look for easy money, try to skip the process, and guess what happens? They fall. They get humbled. You see it all the time. Some guy gets lucky, makes a bit of fast money, and within a year he's broke. But God showed him real quick, you don't get to keep what you haven't earned. There's no shortcut to greatness. If you try to force success before it's time, it'll break you. Look at history. Some of the greatest men endured long periods of struggle before stepping into their destiny. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before he was ready to lead. Joseph was sold into slavery and imprisoned before he became second in command of Egypt. Even David, anointed as a future king in his youth, had to endure years of hardship before he ever sat on the throne. Why? Because God never places an unprepared man in a position of power. If you are still in the struggle, if you are still waiting, it is because God is still preparing you. The only way you can lose is if you give up too soon. If you let frustration convince you that the process isn't working. If you let your emotions push you to abandon something that is already yours, you just haven't fully grown into it yet. The real test is not whether or not you can handle success. The real test is whether or not you can handle waiting for it. Are you strong enough to keep working when it looks like nothing is happening? Are you disciplined enough to stay focused when doubt is whispering in your ear? Are you faithful enough to keep moving forward when you can't even see the finish line? Because if you can do that, if you can trust the process even when everything seems to be against you, then success is no longer a question of if, it's a matter of when. God sees the full picture while you only see one small part of it. He is never late, he is never wrong. If you have the strength to trust him, to embrace the struggle, and to refuse to quit, then your success is inevitable. The only thing that can hold you back is you. Will you keep doubting, keep resisting, keep letting frustration stop you? Or will you wake up tomorrow and say, God, I trust you. I trust the process, and I will keep going no matter what? Because that is the moment everything changes. That is when the struggle stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest advantage. The people who win in life are not the ones who run from the process. They are the ones who embrace it. If you can do the same, if you can stay committed and trust God's timing, then one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you will look back at everything you have been through and say, now I understand. At this moment, you have a decision to make. Will you trust God's plan for you, or will you allow fear, doubt, and impatience to steal your future? The truth is, God does not need you to fully understand the process. He needs you to trust it. You may think you've been waiting too long. You may believe the struggle is unfair, that the pain is unnecessary, but God knows exactly what he is doing. He knows the trials you must endure to become the person you are meant to be. He understands the lessons you need to learn. He knows the weaknesses that must be removed from your character, and he alone knows the perfect moment to give you what you have been praying for.
God's love is a disciplinarian love. It's a masculine love. It's like a father. A father shows love through putting you on the bike, letting you fall over, letting you hurt your knee, picking you back up, putting you back on the bike. That's how a father shows love, and God is the same. We learn through pain and suffering, which is why God gives it to us, because God is here to teach us. God is like a father, and a father teaches you, I believe, through pain. If a dad wants to teach you how to ride a bike, he puts you on the bike, lets you fall off and get hurt, puts you back on the bike over and over and over until you can ride the bike. God does the same thing. Some people only learn the hard way, especially men. God's actually very nice, because I believe God gives us a whole bunch of chances to learn a lesson the easy way. It's called life. Of course, he'll give you, think of the harshest lesson. You don't even have to say what it is, but think of the harshest lesson you've had in the last few years, and think of how many times you had the easy way to learn that lesson before it got bad.
Like that.
How many times you could have just woke up and go, nah. Yeah. But we don't, do we? Nope. We wake up like, we got away with it. It's fine. And then bam, you get hit. There's only two ways to learn lessons, hard and harder. If you're smart, you take it the hard way. Real idiots take it the hardest way. Yeah. But there's no easy way to learn lessons. So you're right. I agree with everything you say. And that's how God teaches anyway. That's how God is always going to teach, because God is a disciplinarian love. I think it says, someone said this to me, I think in school you learn things and then you're given a test, but with God you're given the test and then you learn things. And that's the way it works.